Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not sure you can hear me. Miss Adams, can you hear me?
Morning, afternoon, Chair. We can hear you.
Oh, okay, just checking. Are you going to let me know if we can start?
We can start, Chair. We are recorded and recording.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome for the attending this standing committee on the mobility. We'll be here until 4 o'clock. We just want to appreciate for you for coming in again, to apologize because it was supposed to be a hybrid, which is other people be in their house and the others on virtual, because at the time we wanted to accommodate the Berries Bay residents who would have been coming in in terms of the presentation. So today's meeting is about the petition submitted requesting urgent intervention in respect of excessive speeding along the R44 through Betty's Bay to address serious risk to motorists, visitors, tourists, and wildlife. And then it will be followed by the briefing by the Department of Infrastructure, the Western Cape Mobility Department, and also the Overstrand Municipality on the matters raised with a petition that falls within their mandates and areas of responsibility. Therefore, we will want to allow the Berries Bay to be able to do their presentation, the petition, and then after that, the committee will look in terms of petition framework in regard to their response. My name is Noma French Mbombo. I'm the chair of the Mobility Standing Committee, and I received the apology from the Provincial Minister of Infrastructure and the Provincial Minister of the Mobility. And when the Berries Bay petitioner introduce themselves, they can also indicate in terms of the challenges that they are having in regard to the steering committee members who will, when they do the presentation, how it's going to be. Having said that, let's allow the members of the parliament to introduce themselves. Just a reminder again that, sorry, I've got the flu. For the members to make sure that if they are not, when they are speaking, they can put on their video on. And when they are not speaking, please switch off your video, your camera. And members to also to flag points, points of order, and also they can also indicate it in the chat functions. And also members and anyone who's participating must switch off their microphones once they are finished. So having said that, over to the members for introducing themselves. Oh, I've got another apologies. I see also, sorry, the Minister of Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning has got prior commitment. We have received that. Member Heron, Ms. Glenda, Ivan from Berries Bay petitioner, and Ms. Graham Clark, Berries Bay petitioner, who have sent the apology. Over to the members to introduce yourself. Thank you very much.
Hi there, Chair. I'm Leon van Wyk, a member of the committee.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, Derek Bessels, and I'm a member of this committee. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Benedicta van Minnen, and I'm a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Pat Lecker and alternate to the committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brendan Adams, member of the committee.
Is that all from the members? And then can we get from the officials from the Department of Mobility first, acting HOD?
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members. Apologies for the camera. Deirdre Benoit, acting head of Department for Mobility. I'm together with Willie van der Merwe and Des Patton that will introduce themselves now.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, honourable members, other colleagues. My name is Willie van der Merwe. I'm responsible for road safety management in the Mobility Department.
Good afternoon, colleagues and Chairperson and all members of the committee. Des Peyton, I'm the Regional Director, Provincial Traffic Services, Western Cape Province.
From the Department of Infrastructure.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and members. Michael Hendrickse, I'm the Deputy DG of Transport Infrastructure for the DOI. I believe I'm the only member from the DOI. Apology from our HOD who's tied up in other urgent matters. Thank you.
Yeah, correct. Thank you. The Overstrand Municipality.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm Alderman Achiklas, Executive Mayor of Overstrand. On the platform, if the Speaker of Council, Alderman Grant Cohen, can switch on the camera so that you can see him. And then I've got also the Ward Councillor, Councillor Teresa Els, if she can also switch on the camera. Angelo Ford, an official, is supposed to be with them. Thank you, Angelo Ford. Maybe they can't hear me, Chairperson. Let me, I'm also here at Clascas at the office in Hermanus, just maybe to allow the director to introduce the members that he has came with. Over to you, Director.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm Davian Nunes, Director, Municipal Public Safety. And I've got Zen Titus on my right-hand side, Dennis Hendricks, and Philip Gucci is also present. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just between the officials, we've got mainly the Municipal Public Safety Directorate, and also we've got Dennis Hendricks, who is the Engineering Manager. That is the team from Overstrand. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I can see there are other people here, although they just want to be observers. I think Councillor MMC Lam is also here. But having said that, can we also have Cape Nature?
Good afternoon. My name is Farah Ali and I am the Landscape Manager for Landscape Central at Cape Nature. I will hand over to Tini.
Hello, I'm Tini van der Westhuizen. I'm the Off-Reserve Manager for Kugelberg Landscape Unit, and I'm based in Jonkershoek office.
Good afternoon, everyone. Leandi Wessels. I'm the Landscape Unit Manager for the Witzenberg Landscape Unit, Cape Nature. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And then over to the Betty's Bay petitioners. I can see, I'm not sure whether it's going to be the chairperson, Ms. Carol Clark, but I see there is someone here. Can I just hand over from the Betty's Bay petitioners for the introductions? In my list, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but I'm aware that the others won't be able to show their faces, but over to whoever will be doing the presentation to introduce the team. Thank you very much.
Hi, afternoon to everybody. I'm Carol Clark. I'm one of the petitioners. Myself and Dorianne, who will introduce herself, will be the ones presenting. And as you noted, the petitioners, the rest of them have chosen not to be on camera. They just want to do that for personal privacy purposes.
Good afternoon. My name is Dorian Mars, and I am the petitioner acting on behalf of the Betty's Bay residents, and I will be sharing the presentation with Carol today. Thank you.
Okay, so my understanding is that the others, although they might be attending, so they don't want to show. You are fine with that? Okay, thank you. I think let's, yeah, okay, no problem. I think let's give you the opportunity to do the presentation. For how long roughly that probably we can take? Can we?
About half an hour. We've timed it twice, and it's about 30 minutes.
All right, thank you. Over to you. I'll switch off my camera so that you could be able to do the presentation. Are you handling it from your side?
I think so. This is just apologies in advance. This is the first time we're doing it on Teams. We've done it by ourselves on Zoom. So I'm just going to negotiate the sharing. I share from my laptop. I'm just share from mine. Okay, so just apologies if it takes a minute or two to sort this out.
No problem, but noting that we did receive the presentation as well, the members do have it as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry, I just got to find it. I'm not used to this one.
I can see your screen.
Okay, is it sharing or not? Sorry, I did.
Double click it on it. It's still under listing.
Okay, Mr. Double click on the actual
Presentation.
Sorry about this.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay, is that fine?
Not as yet, but you still
I've got to stop sharing. I presume I don't want to hit that one.
No, you're still fine. It's still presentation. Double click again.
Okay. So go back into. Sorry about this, everybody. As I said, we're more familiar with the Zoom platform. Okay, let me just do it again. I'm just going to stop sharing and start again.
Okay. If you can, Ms. Adams, from your side, if you could also try from your side as well. Ms. Adams?
Yes, Chair, I'm about to flight it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is that all ready to go? Sorry, can someone just confirm that's ready to go?
Western
Okay,
Cape Provincial call for, is it the one in PowerPoint?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to clarify, do we have to ask you now to move the slides on, or can we move the slides?
Okay. Is from whose side is this? From?
Chair, I'm sharing, so they'll need to tell me to move the slides.
Okay. It's from our side.
Okay. Okay. Put about that. Okay. Sorry about the glitches. So from the Petition Steering Committee, good afternoon to everybody on this virtual meeting. We thank Prof. Mbamba and the honourable members of the Standing Committee for Mobility for the invitation to present the contents of our petition today. We thank all the other stakeholders present on the meeting. We've seen some familiar faces from Overstrand Municipality and Cape Nature. and we really trust that the outcome will be the improved safety for residents, road users, and wildlife. As we've mentioned, some of the petition committee members have chosen not to appear on camera just for personal privacy reasons. Together, we were calculating earlier, the petition committee has over 100 years of living experience in Betty's Bay. This is the first time we're presenting, and we hope that you'll understand that we're ordinary residents and give grace to any nerves and glitches. And we trust that today, our experience in Betty's Bay, plus the Committee for Mobility and the other stakeholders' experience and knowledge, will collaborate to produce the best possible solutions for the R44 through Betty's Bay. Okay, next slide. These colorful photos just give you a glimpse into our beautiful world in the Kogelberg Biosphere, which was declared in 1998. Betty's Bay is in the heart of the Cape Floral region, and we share our space, or we share the wildlife space, as well as the critically endangered African penguins in Stony Point who are fighting for survival. The wildlife was here before the people arrived, and the expanding development in the village has radically decreased their habitat. And before the R44 was upgraded as well, they were here, and it's now a wide road that divides the mountains and the sea and the free and safe mobility of wildlife. Okay, next slide. This petition forms part of a formal constitutional public process. We gathered 440 signatures over a few hours, over 3 days. If we had extended this time and reached non-permanent residents of Betty's Bay and extra people, we believe there would have been more signatories to this petition. Next slide, thanks. Yeah, the R44 winds through 10.5 kilometers of Betty's Bay, cutting through the residential area and ecologically sensitive area. As its original purpose was to accommodate heavy vehicles involved in the construction of the Denell site, it is wider than average and has excellent road conditions. The downside to this, perhaps, is that it's seen by many motorists and bikers as a racetrack on which to drive at unacceptable speeds while passing through the village. The resulting speeds, noise, and danger to people and wildlife are one of the reasons why we're here today. Next slide. Some of the core concerns. First one is public safety. As the road follows the lower mountain contours, there are many blind curves and steep rises, and some of these are at entry and exit points into the road. We counted on a GIS map that there are probably about 230 properties that lie directly adjacent to the R44 and whose driveways enter and exit this road. There are also about 37 side roads that intersect the R44 through Betty's Bay, and at the end of the presentation, there are 2 overview GIS maps that show these properties and interactions. We understand that this qualifies the road as a Class 3 arterial road, requiring speed reduction and automated cameras, as well as calming measures such as mini roundabouts and speed humps. We just want to make a note about the position of Betty's Bay. Betty's Bay lies between Claremont on the east and the villages of Pringle Bay and Roy Else on the west. As a result of this, all the traffic, the large sewage tankers that service Pringle Bay and Roy Else, the ShopRite bikers and delivery vehicles of all natures and sizes travel to and through and fro from Claremont to the villages through our village. Sewage tankers often drive very fast to reach their destinations on a busy schedule, and the ShopRite bikers are racing to achieve their well-known 60-60 mission and getting more trips during the day. Despite the road driving through a beautiful area, people are often in a hurry, impatient, and driving well beyond the 80 kilometers per hour. Next slide, thanks. In July 2025, as a result of site visits, a 60-kilometer zone was created on the very busy short section of the R44 at the hub in Penguin Place. When a camera was initially installed, it failed the legal distance and coverage requirements. As far as we know, the camera is not functional. There's no camera present in the box, and road users know that there are no consequences to them if they exceed 60 kilometers per hour in this area. There are, however, can be harmful consequences to other road users, pedestrians, and wildlife. Next slide, thanks. Another one of the factors is ecologically destruction. In a response to the increasing ecological destruction and wildlife death on the road, in 2024, residents from various community groups within Betty's Bay area formed the R44 task team. It comprised representatives from the Kogelberg Biosphere Wildlife and Training Center, the Kogelberg Biosphere Reserve, the Royals Conservancy, the Betty's Bay Conservancy, and Coastal Rewilding. Some digital and paper flyers, like the one seen on the right of the screen, were created and distributed during an awareness campaign over the December 2024 holidays. As seen in the photograph, often baboons crossing can be a daily occurrence as they move through the range in the territory. Not all motorists are wildlife friendly, and some have even been seen to purposely drive at the baboons to hit them. This baboon crossing also occurs in the village of Royals, as the road R44 bisects their village as well. So we will refer to wildlife destruction and fatalities later on in the presentation. Next slide, thanks. Okay, higher speeds increase the risk of accidents on the road and side-on collisions at concealed driveways and entry points. And in Betty's Bay, there are two small CBD areas. The first one is situated between Dyser Road and Porter Drive and includes shops, restaurants, library, pharmacy, municipal dump, and a petrol station. The second small CBD area lies between the Dyser Youth Centre, the Harold Porter Garden, and the Hub or Coffee on Clarence area. Both are busy with buildings on each side of the busy R44, and pedestrians have to navigate all sorts of traffic and speeds as they try and cross the road. Next slide, thanks. Weekends are often a time of recklessness, and this is one short video clip just showing. Okay, now that's the problem with the video clips aren't attached to your presentation. Are you able to do that? Can you hover over the slide and set that video going? There we go. If you could just press play. Okay, I didn't have any sound on that. I don't know if the other people on the meeting could hear the visual sound.
The vision was fine, no sound.
Yes, sir.
Is there any chance that one can play it with sound?
Yeah, I was going to say that the sound doesn't have a sound.
Let me see if it plays now.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, it's so fast. Is it on the faster? You can't, because I just see the bikes moving so fast.
That's the point of the video. They do move fast.
Oh, okay.
Just to show the speed.
And I
And
thought
you'll
it's in the faster mode instead of normal. Okay.
No, it's
And you'll see the one, in fact, crossed over the solid line. They are inclined to ignore the solid road markings, you know.
Okay, it's a pity about the audio because it also just gives a reflection of the noise that goes through. Okay, there are a couple of other videos that did require the noise, but sound, but we're just going to go with the flow today.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so weekends, weekend motorists and bikers, the weekends are the busiest and noisiest, and obviously the sound travels in a peaceful village. The sound from the road travels far in the village. Okay, next slide, thanks. Right, we're going to now focus on some of the particular sites that we have concerns about, that we've identified as problem areas, and the proposed solutions from the committee. These come with the insight of residents who drive this road regularly and are very aware of the problem areas and challenges. We're also aware that we're not traffic engineers, and we hope that the combined knowledge of all the folk on the meeting today will achieve the most optimal results. Okay, next slide, thanks. Okay, the first part of our request is that we're requesting a uniform speed through the village, a drop from the 80 km/h current speed to 70 km/h, but this includes the 60 km zone that was established in July last year. We are also requesting that the 100 km approach to the east and west from the village be reduced to 80 kilometers an hour. Next slide, thanks.
This is where I come in. Now, this Dyser Circle mini roundabout suggestion is located near the CBD area. And it's a four-way intersection, and it's located at the western entrance to Betty's Bay. It links the mountainside suburbs and the central residential areas of Betty's Bay with the R44. And it passes through the Betty's Bay Central Business District. So at least 15 commercial businesses, including retail shops, restaurants, and a garage. In addition to a municipal waste drop-off facility, a library, a clinic, all of which have direct access to the R44. Video footage provided clearly demonstrates the volume of traffic that occurs in this area and the vehicles as they turn off or enter the R44 at these various locations. There are also additional residential intersections in the vicinity, namely the busy intersection of Porter Drive East and Clips Splinger Road, both of which have direct access to the R44.
Okay, if you could maybe
I
just
please
hover
have-
over the video on the left-hand side. If you could start that video, thank you.
I think whilst we are watching, you can probably say something in terms of what is it that we
Yes.
need to look
Yes,
for.
You'll notice a car has just turned off to one of the shops. It's just turned off to one of the shops. And
The
you'll
one that
see
turns right.
Yes, in fact, it's coming from the other way. It's turning left into the parking area in front of that group of shops.
Hmm?
And you'll see another one coming out just now, coming out from that location onto the R44. I don't know
Okay.
why it stopped. As it's...
Can you continue the why?
Yes, of course. Yes, thank you.
Okay, it was done. Okay.
It was also to highlight the bus parked on the left-hand side of the road,
Yes,
which is often
yes.
parked there. I think it's and just the traffic that in terms of obstructing visibility a little bit as well. But just to highlight that it's a very busy area.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, now we have the graphic. I just want to get back to the bus. These school buses are parked overnight along the side of the road, and they are there to pick up the learners each weekday morning. Taxis have their drop-off and pick-up points also adjacent to and opposite the garage. So we've got a lot of pedestrian traffic crossing the road, crossing the R44 from one side to the other. Now, in this graphic here, you'll see how close the Dyser Circle is. Where the mini roundabout graphic is, the Dyser Road circle is right there, and you'll see its proximity to the CBD area. The pink shaded area, those are all properties with direct access to the R44. And in the photograph above, you'll see that is the location of the four-way intersection. It's a four-way, basically a four-way crossroad. And you'll see the vehicle coming out of Dyser on the one side, and he could turn left and go to the CBD, or he could turn right and come this way to Pringle Bay, or go straight across the road down into the central residential area, Betty's Bay. So one needs to slow the traffic down to avoid a speeding line through that intersection. And this is what the graphic shows. So it's imperative that a mini roundabout is installed at this busy Dyser Circle crossroad. This would stop straight line speeding along the R44 at the location, and it will slow down the momentum of the traffic as it enters the CBD area with its pedestrian traffic and many turn-off and entry points. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Are there any questions? Nothing?
We'll take later.
Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, Honourable Chairperson and members of the Standing Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding the 1 kilometre stretch of road that passes the high-density access point known as the hub on the R44 in Betty's Bay. On this particular section of road, we have a combination of factors that create a significant safety concern. Vehicles travelling at speed, pedestrians crossing or walking alongside the road, limited visibility in places, and daily visits from our resident baboons. In the first video, so that would be in the middle. If you're looking at the video, you'll see a car exiting a parking bay and then cutting across the road while narrowly missing the oncoming delivery motorbike. As previously mentioned, the 60-kilometre camera zone in that area was installed in July 25. It remains non-operational. Motorists are not complying with the current speed limit because they know the camera is not working. If we click on the second video, this demonstrates how difficult it is to exit Penguin Street, which is coming from a parking lot at the hub. Visibility is poor to the oncoming traffic. It's blocked by the vehicles that are parked there. You kind of have to edge right forward into the road before you know that you can safely turn right. The proposed solution here is the removal of parking bays, as well as strategically placed speed humps to slow traffic down so that you can safely exit the parking lot. Next slide, please. This is also a video, if you can play that footage. This is footage of a vehicle exiting a parking bay at the local coffee shop. It gets rear-ended by that large vehicle because it wants to turn right into Cliff Road. Had there been a speed hump there, this accident could have been avoided. A speed limit is only effective when the road environment supports that limit. If motorists can comfortably travel significantly faster than the proposed restriction, then we need to look at engineering solutions as well as enforcement. There have been at least 4 serious accidents in this area in the last 2 years. So we are asking for action before a serious tragedy occurs. Next slide, please. Meaningful traffic calming measures will physically encourage drivers to slow down, including appropriately designed speed humps on either side of the hub commercial precinct. Speed humps would force a reduction in speed to ensure the safety of pedestrians and motorists. We are asking for the humps rather than speed bumps, as these would not disrupt emergency vehicles passing through.
Next slide, thanks.
We are requesting the removal of certain parking bays at the hub. So I'm referencing the first photograph, which aligns with Regulation 304 and 305 of the National Road Traffic Act, which strictly prohibits parking in places of business should the view of oncoming traffic to pedestrians and motorists be blocked. And we see the first photo, there are green arrows, that is Penguin Street, and the parking bays that are blocking the view. The second photo highlights the other parking bays further down the road that should be removed, as the blind corner obstructs the view of pedestrians wanting to cross the road. And the street further down there is known as Twist Street. Thank you for your time. Next slide.
Okay, I just want to refer back to the video that had the big truck rear-ending the small truck. It's a pity that the audio wasn't on because there is one huge almighty crash that would have been very effective. Okay, next slide, the Sunny Sea Seaview link.
Good day to the Chairman and Honourable Standing Committee members. I've been a permanent resident in Betty's Bay for 14 years, and for 5 years prior to this visiting while building my house and holidaying. I'm responsible for reporting on the stop streets and the T-junctions entering the R44. If you could play the video, please. Okay, Luko Street is a steep incline. When stopping at the stop line, you cannot see left or right for oncoming traffic. One takes a chance turning left and even worse, turning right, unless you creep over the stop line.
You can play the second video.
Play the second video.
Right, Luko Street has a steep incline. When stopping at the stop line, you cannot see left or right oncoming traffic. One takes a chance, the left or right, even worse, right, unless you creep over the stop line. This is the same as other roads entering in onto the R44, mainly Rockway, Dolphin Road, both Cliff Road junctions, especially the one opposite the hub, to mention a few. Porter Drive junction at the centre shops is a major turn-off and is dangerous. Then the Porter Drive T-junction at the end of Betty's Bay is highly dangerous, as well as the speed limit on the R44 at that junction is 100 kilometers an hour. Plus the fact that the R44 is on a downhill at that point, and it bends to the left at this turn-off. Next slide, please. Here again, we see overtaking on a solid line in front of Seaview Link, oncoming towards Lukhof Road, where it is very dangerous to enter the R44 from Lukhof Road. Where the road starts, as you pass Albert Malone, behind these vehicles is where the speed track starts in Sunny Seas for all types of motor vehicles. Most of the time, 7 days a week. During the night, a lot of motorists travel at over 80 kilometers speed limits. Thank you for your time and the opportunity to show you videos and report on them. And we trust that in your consideration to empower the changes requested and have law enforcement presence more regularly with the use of fixed cameras and portable speeding cameras. And we're looking forward to meeting you at a site visit at some time.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Sorry, it's not finished yet. There's still a few
Oh,
minutes. Yeah, next slide.
okay.
Sorry, if we can just go back to the other one. I don't think we played the, like, if we just play that one.
Yeah, play the video.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to speak about the sewage tankers. As shown in the video clip there, they serve all three villages along the R44, that's Betty's Bay, Pringle Bay and Royals, from a point between Betty's Bay and Kleinmond, where the sewage works are situated. There's a constant stream of them going both ways throughout the daylight hours, and in fact, after dark, especially as well. and a number of them drive at excessive speeds, often overtaking other vehicles in the face of oncoming traffic. One was recently involved in a serious accident, and it is only a question of time before there is another one.
Okay, next slide. Thank you.
Honourable Chairman and members, thank you for your attention today. While numerous calming measures have been discussed, including the speed humps, traffic circle, and the removal of parking bays, the most effective continuous deterrent is the installation of speed cameras. These cameras reinforce all other calming factors by ensuring that speed limits are consistently respected along the entire stretch of clearance of the R44. As illustrated in the document, cameras will be strategically placed on the two longest straight stretches, the western side and the eastern side, Porter and Tudisa and Rockway and Oyster, where speeding and risky driving are most prevalent. These areas are hotspots where drivers often ignore road markings and accelerate dangerously when exiting or entering Betty's Bay. We urge the approval of automated speed cameras as a life-saving measure. Their presence will complement other calming factors and provide consistent enforcement needed to protect both our residents, visitors, and wildlife. Thank you very much. Next slide.
Thank you for this opportunity. We, along with 230 other people who have direct driveway access, live on the R44, and we first really became aware of speeding, especially by motorbikes on Sundays, very soon after moving here. However, since we've lived here, traffic volumes have become increasingly heavy, and speeding by all types of vehicles, as tankers, construction vehicles, delivery trucks, cars, and bikes, has become the norm, possibly getting worse due to bad driving habits and lack of consequences. I'd like to highlight the difficulty we experience in getting out of our driveway onto R44. Because of the speed at which some cars are travelling, some drivers have to move to the yellow line to let the speedsters pass. Then this blocks our vision of other vehicles oncoming. Once I've managed to navigate onto the road, I often find that a vehicle that's been a long way back suddenly is on my tail, even though I've accelerated to a speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour. We, that's my husband and I, often walk along the R44 most evenings around about 5 p.m., which is knock-off time for workers when traffic is heavy, and we're amazed at the speed at which many vehicles travel at this time of day. This means that the law-abiding vehicles are pushed off the road onto the yellow line so the speedsters can pass. On a positive note, last weekend the traffic department had patrol vehicles driving up and down, for which I'd like to thank them, and we noted a marked improvement in speed. So in conclusion, I would ask please to implement more traffic calming methods, cameras, static and moving, circles, speed humps, policing and enforcement. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Right.
Do you want to play the slide?
The next slide, please.
No, she's on the next one.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to talk now a bit about vehicles other than cars and tankers or trucks, i.e. motorcycles. Firstly, the so-called 60/60 delivery small motorbikes delivering goods from a supermarket in Clanmore to customers in all 3 villages mentioned and then returning for another load. The video shows one of these on the R44 in Betty's Bay. These, and I emphasize the words, had a reputation for speeding, but I must admit that things have been better in recent weeks, and this has been noticed by a number of residents. We assume that this matter has been actioned by management after recent complaints. There are still serious problems with other motorcyclists, though, which we will discuss just now.
Next slide.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll go straight into it now. Before we look at the affidavits, as I said, we have a main area of concern regarding larger and more powerful motorbikes than the 6060s that affect mainly people who live on or near the R44 in Betty's Bay, especially when there are long straight stretches of road which have been pointed out there, which exist at both the west, especially at both the western and eastern areas of the R44 in Betty's Bay. On weekend days, particularly Sundays when the weather is good, we have numbers of motorcyclists in groups of anything from single figures to as many as 15 or even more, coming through mainly from the Cape Town area. A number, not all, seem to use these long straight stretches as speedways, passing through at extremely excessive speeds. I estimate that sometimes speeds of between 150 and 200 kilometers per hour are reached by these motorbikes. There's even a story doing the rounds that a person was caught heard bragging in Hermanus, which is often the destination, of having exceeded 300 kilometers an hour on one of these stretches. I'd like to move on then now to the noise levels that these bikes or these groups of bikes make, and it can only be said to be indescribable, and certainly could be defined as noise pollution. With regard to the two affidavits in the position about specific incidents, these give some idea of the disregard for the rules of the road and the danger that certain motorcyclists pose to the general public. I'll just add that the names have been redacted for obvious reasons. Thank you very much.
Okay, another one of our requests due to where the road traverses is a request for wildlife crossing signs. This is to alert motorists to drive slower and carefully as they travel on the R44 through Betty's Bay and beyond. The speed limit on this section indicated on the map between Royals and Betty's Bay is 100 kilometers per hour and the site of numerous roadkill. Ironically, this is the speed limit at which the road passes the Kogelberg Wildlife Rescue Training Center just outside Betty's Bay, and they have to deal with the tragic outcomes of accidents, including involving wildlife fatalities. Also, point to note is that the staff from the center have to exit and enter the R44 at 100 kilometers per hour. Next slide, thanks. We're also requesting wildlife crossing signs within Betty's Bay on the R44, and these sites with a W noted are just 3 areas that we would like to consider for signage. There may be others, but it is important to have a visual means and a reminder for motorists to slow down. Next slide, thanks. And these are just some of the examples of wildlife crossing signs we found. The lovely reflective ones on the bottom middle and right of your screen, the bottom middle is Cape Leopard Trust signage that they've developed. And on the right is the Urban Caracal Project signs, which they have developed, which are very effective and would be a nice touch to add to Betty's Bay. But these are just ideas of possible signage. Thank you. Right, our final section, we're going to move on to just provide you with some accident statistics and wildlife fatalities. Next slide, thanks.
We have the SAPS accident data from 2025 to 2026, and it is quite shocking. SAPS reported a total of 28 accidents within 16 months, from March 2025 to July 2026, and this is only within the 10.5 stretch of the R44 through Betty's Bay. Accidents involved drunken drivers, multiple injuries, of which 4 were serious, side impact collisions, rear end collisions, loss of control of vehicles, and 2 culpable homicides. Captain Mostert, the station commander at SAPS in March 2026, cited safety concerns due to the increase in pedestrian and vehicular traffic following the construction of the hub centre. The popular Betty's Bay Community Park Run held on Saturdays at the Harold Porter Gardens compounds the problem. He also confirmed that the speed camera installed at the hub in July 2025 was non-operational, and he supported the Betty's Bay R44 petition and its request for speed reduction measures. Just another slide. Next slide, please. On the left, I just wanted to put in the updated report from SAPS, and this is from April. We submitted our petition in March, so we took as far as March initially, and then we received an updated report from April to July, and that was added to the total. So the news article on the right of the slide refers to the overturned sewage tanker, where 4 occupants sustained serious injuries. The investigation is ongoing, and as yet we have no information as to the cause of the accident. This accident occurred on the straight stretch between Dyser Circle and Porter Drive at the western entrance to Betty's Bay. This is a hotspot for speeding vehicles, and we have requested that a camera be installed along the stretch of the R44. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Okay, moving on to the wildlife mortality crisis that's happening in our area. The Kogelberg Wildlife Rescue Training Centre was permitted by Cape Nature at the end of 24. They keep records of the admissions and the fatalities that the centre is involved for. They've had over 420 admissions in 1 year, and they dealt with 56 confirmed deaths between February 23 and 2026. The species that were affected, or the fatalities, are spotted eagle owls, Cape ungulate tortoises, klipspringers, the Cape clawless otter, genets, porcupines, mongooses, and rox hyraxes. Next slide, thanks. They recently updated their stats in 2026 for the months between January and May, and there were 25 roadkill during this time period. This roadkill included porcupines, cresbrook, spotted eagle owls, caracals, tortoises, and some other species. It's really important to note that this is actually a fraction of what's happening. They did not document the baboon fatalities, and there are often incidents where animals and wildlife are hit or injured and crawl into the bushes and die there, and these are unaccounted for. This is a percentage of the reality of what is happening, and in a biosphere, this is really an unsustainable situation. Next slide, thanks. And this is the sad and gruesome reality of what people are finding on the roads. These are healthy animals in the prime of life, an important breeding to maintain biodiversity in the future of the KBR, which is the Kogelberg Biosphere Reserve. Just a point to note, the porcupine in the bottom middle thing actually had a young porcupet, and this was seen after the death of its mother, trying to suckle from its mother. The resident who came across this gruesome sight rescued the little porcupine and took it to the Wildlife Rescue Centre afterwards. And sadly enough, another porcupine suffered a similar fate not too far away from this site. Next slide, thanks. Right, as we conclude our presentation, we'd like to look at just a brief timeline of what's happened. Prior to 2025, there were numerous requests and appeals from the community to the Australian municipality for intervention on the R44. In June 2025, there was a site visit, and as a result of this, in July 2025, the 60-kilometre zone in the hub area plus the camera were installed. So having gone through these various avenues, this is why the petition is now a formal public participation petition to call for further action. Thank you. Next slide.
So that is the end of the slide
No,
presentation.
2 more to go. Sorry, that's the second last one. So in summary, we are requesting a site visit in Betty's Bay with the Minister of Infrastructure and the Minister of Mobility, together with municipal and provincial traffic departments and any other stakeholders that are relevant, together with the petition committee. And what we are requesting is to legislate the 70-kilometre zone, excluding the current 60 at the hub, and any other important speed calming measures that we have mentioned in the presentation. Okay, second last slide coming.
And I'll do this. This is in conclusion, The residents of Betty's Bay thank the Standing Committee of Mobility and trust that our concerns and solutions regarding lawless speeding along R44 through Betty's Bay will be addressed in accordance with the opinions previously expressed by Minister Seleku, and I quote, "A change in behaviour of lawless drivers requires a shift in mindset alongside strict law enforcement. Punitive measures like fines and roadblocks are not enough on their own and without personal accountability. Excessive speed significantly reduces a driver's reaction time, increases the severity of collisions, and diminishes the effectiveness of safety measures in vehicles."
Okay, one last slide.
End of quote. End of quote.
Final slide. So we're ready from the petition committee's point of view. Want to thank everybody who has been on the meeting today. We really trust that with everyone's experience and expertise and knowledge, we can find suitable solutions to the problems we have highlighted. And we hope to welcome you soon to our beautiful village for a site visit to discuss the optimal solutions for the R44 through Betty's Bay. Thank you very much. There are below this, if you need to refer to, there are 2 GIS maps that document the adjacent properties and the intersections. But that is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I've got the flu. Just in case my voice disappears. Again, thank you very much for presentation. Again, we want to apologize that because we did receive this as early as far in July, but at the time, we had a cluster visit in the West Coast, plus also some of the physical oversights. It was just after the storms, and therefore we were unable to come. And it was also just after we visited the Overstrand Hermanas, but it was for something else in relation to the mobility. Having said that, without even wasting time, again, we want to acknowledge your presentations and also that it is something that indeed it does impact the Berries Bay people, no matter how we can be able, some of us view it as probably not as much as urgent. It is urgent for you. We did, as I indicated when I made the introduction, we do have the mobility department. We do have someone from the infrastructure. We also have someone from the Cape Nature. And then we have also the Overstrand municipality. I think probably what I'll suggest now is just for the Overstrand first before I hand over to the mobility, because you can hear when you ended, you did confirm that the Provincial Minister of Infrastructure and Mobility did visit. And also you made a quote in terms of what the minister said. Before the Overstrand, I don't think it's going to be a full presentation. I think for them, it's also given the opportunity in terms of what they can do as the local government, and also what is it that they are expecting from the provincial government. That's the reason that I want them to start so that their request is being heard. So in summary, the request is around about slow hump, not speed bumps. It's about speed restrictions, and you did indicate that there was an initiation, there was an implementation, but that speed restriction is not enough. You want it to be more of slower, and also to remove the parking bays. I'm just summarizing, but let's hear from the Overstrand. What is it that they did and could be able to assist, and what is within their own sphere of government? And then after that, we hear from mobility. Cape Nature, they did indicate that they are not going to do the presentations, but if they want to make an input, more specifically in regard to the signages related to the animals and all of those, they can make an input. And then, of course, the last one is going to be infrastructure. Over to you, Mayor, and your team that is there. You are given an opportunity for your, whilst the departments, the relevant departments are here, to indicate. I'm not sure whether you can hear me. Yeah. You are on mute. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the honourable members. Good afternoon to all the colleagues present. I will stand on the protocol that you have already established. We had already introduced our team, which is mainly traffic, infrastructure, and our public representatives. We will flight the presentation, but because of time, while Councillor Teresa Els is trying to gain control and flight the presentation. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Let us start directly on the purpose and the position of the municipality on the matter. A coordinated municipal response to a community road safety concern. Overstreet municipality acknowledged the concerns raised by the Betty's Bay community regarding the excessive and reckless speeding, motorcycle activities, particularly during weekends, pedestrian safety around the Betty's Bay Business Hub, access to business and parking areas and properties. And lastly, on this one, Chair, the ability to effectively enforce the 60 kilometers per hour speed limit. Let me quickly get to the position of the municipality. The municipality recognizes the concern, accepts its responsibility within its traffic law enforcement mandate, and supports a coordinated provincial municipal response. I must say, Chair, that we were hoping that the province will first talk before us. Nevertheless, we are in communication with the province and we are speaking more or less from the same hymn book. Key in our message, sir, is that the community has identified a real risk and all fears must work within their respective mandate to address it. If we can move to the next page, the Betty's Bay Road Safety Environment. I know that the organization have, the petitioners have really taken us through this, but please allow me to still piggyback on some of the key issues. Just to establish why this section is special or what set is aside. The R43 and the R44 is a provincial road. Many of us will know it from coming through from Betty's Bay right through to R43. But in as much as it is a provincial road, but it affects the affected section has a particularly complex local road environment. For instance, there is a Betty's Bay Business Hub in that space, the frequent pedestrian crossing that takes place there, the parking on both sides of the road, business and property access as drivers need to access those, visitors and tourists. Many of us will remember that the Harry Potter National Botanical Garden is in the vicinity, and an increased motorcycle activities during identified weekend periods. Chair, the following has been reported, or the following are the peak period for these activities, which is mainly on Sundays between 10 and 12 o'clock, and again between 2 and 4 o'clock. Residents associate this period with the reported motorcycle breakfast run and their returning activities. Our response as a municipality is as follows. These reports are treated as local intelligence and will inform targeted operations planned where resources permit. To the next page, on the 60-kilometer speed limit and the enforcement challenges. The speed limit currently exists. The challenge is effective enforcement, Chair. The affected section previously operated within an 80-kilometer per hour environment. A 60-kilometer per hour speed restriction was introduced through the Betty's Bay commercial or business hub area as road safety measure. But the current challenge, Chair, is that the 260-kilometer zones are approximately 600 meters apart. An existing fixed camera is located between the two zones, the zones. The current signage and the current camera configuration create a constraint for the approval speed enforcement solution. The municipality has a traffic law enforcement function and approved camera enforcement capabilities, but the current physical configuration does not allow that solution to fully operationalize as intended. Critical to this, Chairperson, the issue is not the approval of camera. The issue is the configuration of the signage and the camera infrastructure required to make an effective enforcement possible. Now, let me quickly just talk to the municipal mandate, Chairperson, what we can do as a municipality and what we cannot do. R43 is a provincial road. The municipality, therefore, does not have road infrastructure mandate to independently relocate the provincial road signs, alter road layout, implement road engineering measures, or lastly, Chair, to unilaterally position provincial infrastructure. As the municipality, we do have a traffic enforcement role. Overstrand municipality can conduct targeted enforcement, deploy available resources according to risk, operate approved enforcement system, provide local traffic intelligence, participate in joint operations, engage directly with the province, and monitor and report on enforcement outcome. Our position, Chair, we are not seeking to assume the provincial infrastructure mandate. We are asking the competent provincial authority to work with us to remove the infrastructure constraint that limit effective enforcement. Let's just quickly, Chair, to the practical solution. We need to make the approved enforcement solution operational. The municipality supports a joint technical assessment on the current configuration. The proposed intervention are as follows, Chair. To consider the repositioning of the relevant 600-kilometer signage approximately 200 to 300 meters outwards, subject to the following: the provincial technical assessment, applicable legal requirements, road authority approval, enforcement requirements, and lastly, Chair, confirmation of the appropriate camera position. Our objective is to create configuration that provide, firstly, clear signage, appropriate speed control environment, effective camera and enforcement position, legally sustainable enforcement, and approved road usage compliance. The objective, Chair, is not simply to issue more fines. That will not assist us. The objective is safer road behavior. The overstrand itself, we want to make the following commitment, Chair. While the infrastructure issue is being addressed, overstrand municipality will, firstly, we will enforce by conducting targeted enforcement within available operational capacity. Secondly, we will target by considering the reported high-risk periods and locations where planning developments. Also, we will coordinate, we will work with the province chair, provincial traffic services on joint operations where feasible. We'll also share intelligence by continuing sharing information on speeding, motorcycle activities, accidents, and emerging trends. We will also monitor, Chair, by assessing enforcement outcome and adjust operational planning when necessary. We will continue to engage by maintaining direct engagement with the relevant provincial traffic infrastructure and technical stakeholders. What is important, or an important principle, Chair, is that the Betty's Bay remains an identified road safety concern, but enforcement resources must remain risk-based and balanced against wider provincial and municipal operational demands. Let us look at the way forward, Chair. A joint response for a safer Betty's Bay is extremely important. Overstrand Municipality respectfully supports these are 6 pillars, Chair. That firstly, a joint technical assessment of the current signage and camera configuration be done. Secondly, identification of legally and technically appropriate enforcement configuration. Thirdly, consideration of repositioning of the 60 kilometer per hour signage approximately 200 to 300 meters outwards, subject to the competent authorities assessment and approval for repositioning or reconfiguration of camera infrastructure where technically required. Fifthly, continued targeted provincial and municipal enforcement within available capacity. Lastly, on this issue, Chair, ongoing monitoring of the effectiveness of the interventions that we will have put in place. Closing on our side, Chair, the municipality hears the Betty's Bay community and recognizes the road safety concern. The province has already taken an important step in introducing the 60 kilometers per hour speed environment. Our responsibility now is to ensure that the enforcement environment can work effectively. Overstrand will continue to enforce within its mandate, use local intelligence to target available resources, and work with provincial authorities to address the infrastructure constraints. We are not seeking to assume responsibility for provincial road infrastructure. We are seeking a practical, coordinated solution that allows the existing road safety investigations to be effectively enforced. Ultimately, our shared objective is not more fines. It is safer road behavior and safer Betty's Bay for residents, pedestrians, visitors, and businesses in the area. Thank you so much, Chairperson. If you can allow, Chairperson, just maybe a minute or so that if any of the members, there is something that they want to highlight, that they do so. We do have 3 members that are on your platform, Chair, but the rest of us are here. I just want to check, maybe let me start with infrastructure first. The engineering manager. Dennis, is there anything you want to say or add or emphasize?
No, thank you, Mayor. I think you've covered all the issues, which was also pointed out by the petition committee. But again, that one of the things I've picked up during the presentation, and I think again you've mentioned that, you know, when it comes to the different mandates that the road itself, it is a provincial competency, and therefore when it comes to designs and things which can be addressed, and I know my colleague is in this meeting, Mr. Hendriksen, there are things which can be addressed to do some changes, you know, to the design to address some of the issues like in the parking, for instance, the intersection where the gentleman point out the steep incline, the stop, you know, where I mean, like, and the issue there is clear sight distance, and this is where Cape Nature also comes in, you know, to how can we address that issue. So there is a couple of things, quick wins, Mayor, Chairperson, which we can deal with when it comes to the issue raised by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Traffic.
Yeah, thank you. Colleagues, good afternoon once again. From traffic side, overstand, we are in constant engagement with provincial traffic authorities. We've got a very open and good relationship with the Chief Director, Mrs. Besaidenow, Mrs. Fenny, and Mr. Balifata Mayaba, and the team. So we will put operational actions in place and see how we can look at an integrated approach in addressing the current challenges experienced. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair. I was looking at the ward councillor. I know that we've had a pre-meeting, so when they do not talk, Chair, it means that we are talking the same thing on our part. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can we now get to the province? Because before the members can ask questions, we want to have the whole broad perspectives so that the members can make an input, whether it's for clarity or for the questions. Over to the province. Is the province presenting something?
Chair, if I may, I will present on behalf of the province. So if you just allow me a second for me just to share.
Okay.
I'm not gonna repeat everything that the colleagues already indicated from. So I'm gonna be very brief. We shared our presentation, and the mayor basically covered most of it. So I'll just quickly go through it.
Thank you.
Is it visible, Chair?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, I just want to see now to get this into PowerPoint, into presentation mode, because now it looks different.
For us, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
You can just
continue.
do it on sideways to do the next slide.
Thank you, Chair.
Instead of up and down.
Chair, honourable members, members of the petition, colleagues, thank you for the opportunity. Like I've already indicated, we've shared our presentation with Overberg Municipality. So I'm not gonna repeat everything that's already been said. So the response is based on the petition and in terms of the proposals that we're gonna make. So provincial, the bottom point there, provincial and municipal traffic service will continue to work together with their respective mandates and available operational capacity. So Mr. Titus also referred to that, so I will just go into a bit more detail pertaining to that specifically. As we've already indicated, or what's already been indicated, is the issues in terms of reported racing, excessive speeds, disregard for road markings, the increased risk to residents, pedestrians, and other road users. So we got to see from mobility side specifically, what can we do with regards to from an enforcement perspective, but also engage with the judicial system to see that there's consequence. It's all good and well that we're doing the enforcement and we issue the citations, but if there's non-payment of the citations at the end of the day, you're not going to change behavior. So that is just from an enforcement perspective. We will also have to look and see in terms of the communication and awareness perspective, how we can assist from mobility side to sensitize road users of the risks on that specific road. So the same reported pattern in terms of Sundays with regards to the motorcycle activity. So we're well aware of that. We shared that with our colleagues from Overstrand, and that's part and parcel in terms of what we intend to do with regards to increased enforcement in the area. I'm not going to speak about the infrastructure too much. What we must be very aware of is the fact that the current cameras, if we want to move those cameras, the relevant technical road and enforcement stakeholders need to coordinate the required adjustment. So that means that will require an application by Overstrand municipality. So between Overstrand and ourselves, we'll discuss that, so that we do an application is made to SEMCO, and SEMCO is the Speed Enforcement Management Committee, which is chaired by the Deputy Director for Public Prosecutions for a decision in order to move the cameras. So it can't just be, there's approval, but approval for that specific spot. So we need to get specific approval to move any camera. So immediate response within available capacity. Betty's Bay has been identified as a road safety concern within our operational planning, and some of the members of the petition committee already indicated that they saw or were experiencing an increase in law enforcement visibility around Betty's Bay. So that's positive. So we will continue doing so. We will have targeted enforcement interventions where operational capacity and prevailing priorities permit. We do that in close collaboration with Overstrand Municipality to assist us in terms of enforcement. We will coordinate, and we are coordinating provincial and municipal deployments to maximize available resources. As you are well aware that the province is 24/7, but not the municipalities. And that specific stretch of road will fall under Caledon Provincial Centre. Just that from Clarence Drive side, it will be on the metro side responsibility. But so that stretch of road R44 will fall under Caledon, and Caledon must cover the entire end to all the way to between the Riviersonne end and Swellendam, as well as all the other stretches. So we are thinly stretched, but like I say, we will do whatever we can to assist. The mayor already spoke about the local intelligence and reported trends, because all that information plus our predictive analysis assist us in terms of operational planning. And we will consider the peak periods when operational deployment are planned. Deployments are planned. Okay. Okay, so we already spoke about the enforcement in terms of the targeted interventions based on the identified risk. It is all about intelligence-led planning, and we will also continue to monitor the trends and outcomes to see where we make any inroads. So the infrastructure, our colleagues from DOI are also here, so they'll speak a bit more about that. I've already mentioned in terms of the movement of the camera and in terms of the legislative requirements for that. So our proposal in terms of response to the community concerns, we acknowledge the concerns raised by the Betty's Bay community. We need to clearly communicate the operational response. We will demonstrate the provincial and municipal cooperation and support. We will address current speed enforcement infrastructure constraints there. We will ensure interventions remain aligned with available resources and broader road safety priorities. And we will also monitor the effectiveness of the interventions and adjust the operational approach where required. So that was already spoken. The mayor spoke about the way forward in terms of operational, the infrastructure, the intelligence, the monitoring, and the engagement. So the coordinated response to an identified road safety risk requires one risk, one operational plan, joint enforcement, practical infrastructure intervention, and ongoing monitoring. So our objective is a sustainable and coordinated response to identify the road safety risk and while ensuring that interventions remain responsive to available capacity and broader operational priorities of traffic law enforcement. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I just confirm that the Department of Transport through the acting DDG doesn't have to do any presentation? I think it's Mr. Hendricks. You are doing it on behalf of infrastructure, transport infrastructure, and also for the mobility. Am I correct?
Chair, I don't know whether DDG Hendricks wants to specifically speak on maybe one or two aspects with regards to the infrastructure. So I'm not 100% certain whether he wants to add.
Okay.
Chair,
yeah, Mr. Hendricks.
This is Michael Hendricks. I've got a presentation from DOI side.
Okay, all right. Over to you. How long is it going to take?
I'll try to keep it short, 10 minutes max.
All right, thank you.
Good. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, please. We can see.
Right. Okay, good. Thanks. Good afternoon, Chairperson, members, everyone in the meeting. As I said, Michael Hendricks, Acting Deputy DG of Roads for the DOI. Look, I'm not going to comment on all the detail that was put forward by the petition committee, but I'll sort of try to outline broadly context and some broad principles as it relates to speed limits, traffic calming, and so on and so forth. I also won't repeat everything that's already been said. So I think as indicated, the first point is, the Department of Infrastructure is the road authority for the R44, that's Trunk Road 27, Section 1, as we refer to it formally. That means essentially that we're responsible for the maintenance and management of the road infrastructure itself. Of course, we do that within the context of a constrained budget, within the context that we find ourselves where infrastructure needs far exceeds available resources. And so we need to channel funds to areas where we derive the best or biggest benefit. In terms of Clarence Drive itself, the section of Trunk Road 27, Section 1, that's the section of the R44 between the R43, which is east of Claremont, towards Gordons Bay. It's 56 kilometers. 0 to 43, it starts on the Amana side. 0 to 43 is within the Overstrand local municipal area. The rest is within the city metro. And importantly, we handle maintenance on the Overstrand portion, or the portion within the Overstrand municipality, through our Region 1 district roads engineers office. Betty's Bay, I think, as has already been outlined, is a 10-kilometer stretch between kilometer 20 and kilometer 31. So it's about 10.5 k's. Looking at classifications, this was also mentioned by the committee, but this is underpinning principle fundamental to the way that we manage roads infrastructure, the way that we develop corridors and manage development along corridors. But the R44, this particular section, is a Class 2 road. I think importantly, roads in South Africa are classified according to the function they fulfill within the broader network. TRH 26, which is the Road Classification Access Management Manual, sets out classifications 1 to 5. The definitions are set out there. 1 being a principal arterial, equivalent to a sort of freeway standard road, and a Class 5 being a equivalent to a sort of local street. It's termed an activity facility, essentially. Importantly, just in terms of the breakdown, classes 1 to 3 of the 5 are regarded as mobility roads, for providing primarily a mobility function, whereas classes 4 and 5, which are the municipal street types, local access roads, those are access facilities, so their primary function is to provide access. As I said, and you see it there on the screen in the blue block, Trunk Road 27 is a Class 2, which is a major arterial. In terms of traffic, this is image of the link volumes on the R44 across that full 56-kilometer extent. The highest portion of traffic is between the sort of east of Kleinmond section towards Betty's Bay. It's 5,500 vehicles approximately per day. It then drops off towards Royals. But importantly, and I think, look, you know, often when one looks at raw numbers, you think that's high, but we need to sort of put this in the context of the network. The R44 starts, as I said, Mana side. It terminates in Piketberg. So it goes through Stellenbosch, Gouda, Piketberg. This section of the R44 is the lowest traffic section along the entire route. So when I say this section, I refer to the entire 56-kilometer section between east of Kleinmond to Gordons Bay. Give you an indication, highest traffic section is between Somerset West and Stellenbosch. It's 45,000 vehicles a day. This is just a little bit deeper, shows you a breakdown of the traffic, sort of typical of a small town, no defined morning, afternoon peak. It's 95% light vehicles, passenger vehicles, and there's a pretty consistent flow between 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 p.m. with a peak period at 1 o'clock. So this is very sort of consistent with small town, almost sort of holiday town type traffic. Looking at the speed zones, this is a breakdown of the speed zones along the entire route. It is generally 100 kilometers an hour between towns, and then 60 kilometers an hour to 80 kilometers per hour inside of towns. And of course, that's Royals, Betty's Bay, Kleinmond, Betty's Bay, and we've spoken about that at length, is 80 kilometers per hour, except for the section at the hub, which is 60 km an hour. The northern section north of Royals towards Gordons Bay, that's 70 kilometers per hour because of the geometric constraints along that section. Looking at the protocols for setting speed limits, is a technical competency. They are not pulled out of the air. So in terms of the NRTA, the National Road Traffic Act, that gives mandate to road authorities to set speed limits. That is not, it's not, as I said, an arbitrary exercise, but it's done according to a set methodology, which is set out in detail in the South African Road Signs Traffic Manual, Volume 2, Chapter 20. Importantly, that methodology sets out that speed limits must be set by traffic engineers, and the entire process must be done under the supervision of a registered professional traffic engineer. Important to note that speed limits are established in favorable conditions, so they are established in, daylight hours under dry conditions. They are, of course, not a target speed, but they are rather the legal maximum permissible speed on a road, and drivers are expected to adapt and reduce their speeds to suit the prevailing circumstances. So, despite that the road might have a posted speed limit of 100 kilometers per hour, obviously, at nighttime or wet conditions, the assumption, the expectation is that drivers reduce their speed to suit the conditions. I'm not going to go into all of the detail of the methodology, but it's a very elaborate, lengthy, detailed process that one needs to go through. Essentially, the road is divided into speed zones. You look at, similar land uses, similar sort of roadside environments, terrains, and then road characteristics, and you divvy the road up into different sections. You then determine the maximum speed based on a theoretical maximum, that is informed by the road classification, among other factors, and we'll talk about that later. So that's a theoretical component. You then go and take speed measurements, so not anecdotal reports, You actually take speed measurements over a period of time, many different days, and you determine the 85th percentile speed. The speed which is implemented is then the lower of the measured versus theoretical speed. Looking at the maximums, so these are the theoretical maximums based on the classifications. You'll see there the second bullet point for rural and urban class 2 major arterials. Maximum legal limit in a rural environment, so that's outside of, Kleinmond, outside of the towns. Between towns, it's 120 kilometers per hour maximum, and in the maximum within the urban setting, and there's a very, clear definition as to what constitutes urban and what not, and that has to do with the property, the urban size. But anyway, the maximum inside of the urban area is 80 to 100 km an hour. There's then a whole set of calibration factors that you look at and you apply to the maximum theoreticals to get to a sort of resultant maximum theoretical. I'm not going to go through that all. Safe to say that, as I said, the selected speed limit is the lower of the maximum based on the functional classification and roadside assessment factors, and the 85th percentile speed. Looking at traffic calming, similarly to speed limits, decisions as it relates to the introduction of traffic calming is a technical competency. It is done by traffic engineers, by the Department of Infrastructure, and we're lucky to have a whole team of them. Of course, the objective of traffic calming is to reduce vehicle speeds and crash severity, but they can only achieve this where they are used and implemented appropriately. The evidence is clear that where they are used inappropriately, they result in exactly the opposite of the objective for the implementation. Yeah, I think maybe just the important points on this slide is that traffic calming, particularly speed bumps, that measure of hard traffic calming is typically only considered on class 4 and 5 local access streets. They are incongruent with mobility function of classes 1 to 3 roads, and speed control must be done on those classes of roads via speed enforcement. They are also only permitted and installed where there is lighting, street lighting, so they're typically not allowed in or not suitable in rural areas. In terms of fixed camera enforcement, I think different parties have spoken about this. This falls outside of the DOI's mandate. Of course, as was said by my colleague from Mobility and the Overstrand colleagues, applications for a fixed camera must be submitted to SEMCO. SEMCO is a committee that sits under the MPA, gives guidance to the National Prosecuting Authority as to the location of cameras for fixed enforcement. We do, as a road authority, are a member of SEMCO, and so we're involved in the adjudication of applications which are submitted or must be submitted by local municipalities. But of course, the ultimate arbiter is the MPA. Where applications are approved, they must be submitted to DOI for a way leave, which would then allow a municipal asset or third-party asset, being the camera, inside of our road reserve. As mentioned by the committee, a number of studies, speed limit reviews, visits were undertaken during 2025. This slide outlines what was done, but essentially we undertook a speed limit review for the full Clarence Drive section, but particularly, especially the section in Betty's Bay. There were a number of complaints about the hub specifically. We also investigated a number of safety-related issues, I believe, at the library, among others. The outcome of those investigations was that we reduced the speed limit over a section at the hub. The remainder of the corridor, the 80-kilometer speed limit for the remainder of the corridor, is regarded as being appropriate. In terms of accident stats, this is again, this was mentioned by the committee. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but again, one must be very careful to look at raw crash data. We don't do that in engineering. We look at crash rates. So we pulled the last 10 years of stats along Clarence Drive as a whole, and you'll see there that there's 1,627, 1,600 accidents in total. Of course, most serious accidents are fatalities, and you'll see the last over the last 10 years, we have got a record of 4 fatal accidents. Now, importantly, this data is sourced from all police stations in the area. So all crashes that are formally reported to police stations, all those crash reports are submitted to the Department of Infrastructure, and we record them, analyze them, and so on and so forth. But when we look at the crash rate, which is what we use to compare apples and apples across different roads, because of course the raw crash data is obscured, is skewed by the amount of traffic on a road. Obviously, if you've got a high amount of accidents on a road with very low traffic, it'll give you a high accident rate, and vice versa for a road with okay, not going to go into too much, but the bottom line is that the fatality rate is 0.01 per 100,000 population. If you look at the traffic across, on that corridor, benchmarked against a national fatality rate on roads across the country, which is 10 deaths per 100,000 population. So we're not saying that crashes are insignificant, but we are saying that, if we look at serious crashes relative to the rest of our network in the province, it is insignificant. And that covers us. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Is there anything from Cape Nature? Any input from Cape Nature? Thank you. Mobility and infrastructure from Cape Nature.
Hi, this is Tini van der Westhuizen. And thanks for the opportunity. As mentioned before, Cape Nature were not asked to give a formal presentation, but I just want to mention a few points. Yeah, we are in full support of all the recommendations regarding the reduced speed limits, the extra signs, the extra wildlife signs, and extra cameras in the area. And then also thanks for mentioning the Kogelberg Biosphere Wildlife Center. They are a tremendous asset in the area, and they currently have an approved management plan that Cape Nature evaluated, and we approved it. And they also got a valid permit that's valid till the end of this year. And I just want to read one of the special conditions. So their permit is issued only for the purpose of capturing and transporting and the keeping of wild animal specimens in captivity for the purposes of attending to wild animals in immediate distress, and also to provide temporary care and rehabilitation for injured and orphaned wild animals. Then, so what can Cape Nature do more? I think we can maybe hold more roadblocks and joint or assist with joint operations. And that these roadblocks, Cape Nature could also inform the public regarding transgressions pertaining to wildlife, and this also, it includes fauna and flora. There's also quite a lot of illegal flower picking in the area. And then where Cape Nature suspect transgressions with regards to the Nature Conservation Ordinance, so we can open a case or we can assist with a case to bring these suspects to justice. And then I also want to mention our reserve staff at Stony Point and Kogelberg Nature Reserve also does a lot of stakeholder engagements with the local communities. I don't know if Farah or Leande also wants to mention something, but that's from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, Tini. I think firstly, thank you, Chair, for extending the invitation to Cape Nature. We do appreciate that we've been included in the meeting. However, as indicated by my colleague, wildlife protection measures as it relates to the urban context and the I-44 is unfortunately outside of Cape Nature's mandate. That being said, I just wanted to add something about the signage. So Cape Nature signage usually indicates our protected areas or our tourism facilities, and it's dominantly used to regulate activities on the reserve. In relation to this, we would generally support the principle of additional signage within the Kogelberg biosphere, noting that most of the Cape Nature managed land is in the core of the biosphere and not along the I-44 itself. So we are open to taking this discussion offline with either the biosphere or the community members of Betty's Bay, because I'm not entirely sure what is being requested from Cape Nature at this point. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Members, now is over to you in terms of whether the questions of clarity also do indicate the question you are imposing to who petitioners, the provincial departments, also the municipality. Thank you very much. Any questions? I'm trying to look. Okay. Whilst I see the hand from the petitioner, Mr. is Gerald.
Yeah.
Please.
Dorian, I'm the petitioner. I'm borrowing Gerald's laptop today.
Okay, all right.
Yes, my question to the gentleman who from infrastructure. You know, Betty's Bay, and we cannot stress this more strongly, has 230 properties with direct driveway access onto the R44. This, in fact, determines the class of the road. You know, I have done my research there, and it certainly qualifies for a Class 3 arterial road because of the direct driveway access that exists in this in the village. And then, of course, you've got the 37 intersections that feed into the R44. So every day, residents have got to navigate out of their driveway onto a speed track, basically. And then when they want to return to their homes, they've got to navigate their way off a speed track without being rear-ended. So I have to say, I'm a little disturbed by the fact that no consideration has been given to those residents, and there are 230 properties that have to live through this every single day of their lives, and the rest of the residents who have to come onto residential roads that feed into the R44. And then just one last question, if you don't mind. The CBD was not mentioned at all in this presentation, other than what we presented. The CBD is incredibly important. The focus today seemed to be on the hub. The hub was dealt with in 2025. All that is outstanding is the operation of the camera, and the fact that you cannot cross that road even if a car is driving 60 kilometers an hour, going the correct speed limit. You'll die. They'll kill you. So we need to drop the speed even more just in that very small section around the hub. And that is why we wanted the humps. In Claremont, if you go onto the Bot River Road towards Spa, you have a speed hump. So that, and it's a zebra crossing at the same time, but we didn't ask for zebra crossing, we just asked for a hump. And it works very well. You turn into that road, and if somebody wants to cross the road, they can, because you're driving slowly. So I am concerned by the fact that the CBD was not covered in the presentation by other members. And considering the traffic there, considering the pedestrian traffic and the number of businesses and municipal premises there. You know, the waste facility drop-off, you know, the waste truck has to go there a couple of times a day, has to pull in and load up and then pull away. So I think that there is quite a lot of unfinished business, if you don't mind me saying so, that we have to address. And we hear the recommendations, we hear the case that was put forward by the members, by the officials today. But I think we must focus on the residents who have to navigate their way out of their properties every single day of their lives. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if there is any response from the provincial, I think it was from the infrastructure. But whilst we're still waiting for the questions, if there are any, there's a hand. I think that one is from Ms. Clark. Am I correct? Yeah.
Yes, shall I wait, or do you want to get answers, or shall I ask the question?
No, you can ask the question. Meanwhile.
Okay, just want to thank everybody for their input and about the situation. Yeah, I also noted that most of the focus seemed to be on the 60K zone of extending it sort of 200 to 300 meters and what can be done that to make that area functional. Understand about limited capacity constraints in staff and budget. But I think my question is, where does that leave us in terms of installing wildlife signage along between Roy Else and Betty's Bay and within Betty's Bay? Where does that leave us in terms of the cameras situation, where we recommended a camera in Porter and Dyser, about removing the parking bays in the places that we highlighted, and about the humps? I'm sort of feeling like all of that and looking at, I feel like it's all been washed under the carpet at the moment. So I just would like clarity as to, I mean, wildlife signage is quite easy to install and things like that, and removing parking bays to make a area more visually safe for cars to enter and exit Clarence Drive is also doesn't take a lot of resources and capacity. So I just would like clarification on why all those issues appear to be dropped and only the 60-kilometer zone has been mentioned. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Clark. Any other input before we ask the department to respond? But whilst I'm waiting for them, any other input before the department respond? Can I get some clarity? Is it which one is in the priority from your perspective, from as a petitioners from Betty's Bay, in the context, if, for example, the departments don't have resources, I don't know the costs, but might have limited resources. Which one is a priority? Because you mentioned the slow humps, not speed bumps. You mentioned the speed restrictions that now you want in which area, and also you mentioned the. I make an assumption that it might not be a priority, but you did mention the removal of the parking bays, which is you showed us even through the videos you undertook in terms of how they impact on all of the other traffic. And also on the signages related to the natural animals and all so forth. Which one will be? Because ideally you will want these all to be at the same time, because the other one impacts on the other one. But I bet you, whilst the infrastructure did the presentation in terms of that, yes, you've got a problem, but your problem is not to such an extent that probably within the resources they have, it could be prioritized, and then they produce the statistics. But for you, which one ideally would probably that needs to be needed to be done, could be done, or you'll want it that it could at least do some, whether it's a minor impact, that they can be able to prioritize more specifically that for the provinces, there will be adjustment of the budgets towards the end of the year. And I'm not saying that it must be form part of that. I'm just making an example. And then once the petitioners respond, plus also the municipality from your side, most so if we do still have the councillor or even the director can also probably just to indicate. So before we do the way forward. From the petitioner, is that Ms. Clark who's responding?
Yeah, maybe Dorian would also like to be just to answer your question in a little different way. I think in terms of cost-wise, okay, this might not be the priority, but in terms of cost-wise, removing parking bays should be quite easy in terms of repainting over the current white bay. So I don't think that is an expensive one, but it could be an effective, safe one. I think one of the highest ones would be reducing the speed to 70. I don't know if that means planting extra poles. There's obviously got to be research done, but if it just has to replace 80-kilometer signs with 70, it's not the manpower to dig and reinstall poles. It's simply changing the 80s down to 70s. Wildlife signage, we just, someone's recently done a project in the village where they are getting wildlife signs at about 1,250 Rand. Residents are sponsoring them. So I don't think any of these things are particularly expensive. Maybe the humps are and the cameras are, but some of the others are relatively inexpensive. I would even think that if there is the go-ahead does go for wildlife signage and the positions on the road are given the thumbs up, that residents would be quite happy to sponsor wildlife signage to go on the R44 between Royals and Betty's Bay and within Betty's Bay, because that's how passionate the people are. So I don't think they're all expensive. I think if we have to go for the top few, then probably the reduction in speed would be one of the top ones. That would just be my feel, and that the others might require logistics in terms of installation, but removing parking bays and wildlife signage won't be an expensive factor in terms of budget capacity.
Okay, thank you. I think the Miss D wanted to say something. I was gonna say Mr.
Yes.
Gerald. I forgot to say you are using.
Sorry. Thank you, thank you. No, I cannot believe that in Betty's Bay we have no operational cameras. We have no cameras at the moment. The one that is supposed to be there is not operating, but it operates within a 1 kilometer area. And for 9 kilometers, there's not one single camera. And we have two racetracks, two straight stretches where the road is used as a racetrack. So at the moment, there's no enforcement because there are no cameras. And I don't know if the municipal traffic, the Hermanus Traffic Department are allowed to trap people if it's a provincial road. I don't know. But they are certainly not doing so. We need cameras so that when people drive through Betty's Bay, they see there are cameras that, and you can see whether a box has got a camera in it or not. So I'm disappointed about that, because that's the only way we'll enforce the 70-kilometer speed limit, because then people, if you just put a board up, people take that as a guideline. They don't take that board as being a form of enforcement. So the board doesn't really do much. You need enforcement, and that's where you need a camera, because then you can prosecute the person.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you. From the mobility specifically, the last time that you engage the communities, what was what you said you will be able to do by when? Because one of the reasons that they are coming to us is it sounds like as that there was a promise. So what is it that you've indicated that you will do by when from the mobility? I'm not sure whether it's going to be Stefan of Merve or is the acting HOD.
I don't know whether HOD wants to respond, or must I respond, HOD?
Mr. Van der Merwe, you can go ahead, but maybe just to start off, Chairperson, apologies. Let me put my camera on. I know that the teams have been engaging with the municipality, and I'm aware of one engagement with the members in the meeting today, where we agreed to joint operations with the municipality and working in collaboration with Department of Infrastructure around some of the infrastructural issues that requires attention. But outside of that, Chairperson, I'm not aware of any other commitments that have been made.
Thank you very much. I think without putting any other people under pressure, I think for me, because I don't see hands from the members, but probably members will indicate when they do their recommendations later on, when probably you some of you have exited, left with those members. I think for me, it will be ideal that outside the platform now, as a committee, that the departments, specifically the infrastructure and also the mobility, will need again to sit with the municipality. I did hear you are already engaging, because the municipality did indicate what is it that is within their mandate, what they can do, and you can hear the municipality supporting the residents in regard to their concerns. But unfortunately, they can do as much. So therefore, what I'll suggest probably it's about the mobility department, because the mere fact that, because in their presentation, the petitioners did indicate that after there was a meeting, Minister of the Mobility and Infrastructure were there were some of the deliberations where they did indicate in terms of going forward. So I'll really suggest that, but I see a hand from the mayor. Mayor, if you have something, over to you.
Thank you, Doc. Doc, I was looking forward to Mr. Hendricks when he is providing a response, because some of the issues we are almost there. For instance, the municipality just simply need the signage approval so that we can move the signage, because the commitment to enforce, and you can hear between the municipality and the mobility, there is really tangible commitments. But unfortunately, as small as this issue sounds, technically, that technical movement of where the signage is vis-a-vis the camera is a difference whether can you enforce or you can't enforce. It sounds like a very small matter, but it's a very big issue, even more so when we have already moved as far as we have moved. And this is a matter that it's more than 10 months now where we were trying to move to where we need to be. It's just that, Chairperson, we don't want to load other issues on top of an issue. We came into this meeting so that we are able to sort out this issue. If we get it right, it will assist us. For instance, within Overstrand, we've got a similar problem between Volkleb through Stanford going through to Gansbaai. But I think it's important between us as government spheres that we are able to work together, the different departments, and get ourselves together. Literally, if the signage, if there can be a commitment on the movement of signage, then it's easy to enforce. But unfortunately, our laws, the manner in which they are, you can't enforce unless it is within the law. But one is encouraged by the infrastructure, the tone that Mr. Hendricks spoke on. And I could even hear when I spoke to our Department of Infrastructure that the relationship is there. Just that this one step that we need to get right, and then we move forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before I give to Mr. Hendricks, I think there was another hand. Mr. Hendricks' hand is second one. Oh, it's your office hand. It's the hand from the municipality. Over to you, Ms. Hendricks. It sounds like that the Department of Infrastructure is the one that is, it depends on them to move the signage. Over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chair. Yeah, look, as I said, as the road authority, we have the responsibility, the mandate to approve, review, and look at signage along the corridor. If the sign is to be moved, it would need to be approved by the DOI. I've not seen any specific request for a sign to be moved, so we'll work with Overstrand to pick that up. But again, as I said, I understand the difficulties in terms of enforcement. Speed limit signage is a technical competency, and it's not moved for the convenience of enforcement. It's moved because at the point where the speed limit zone starts, it must be appropriate to enforce at that point. Okay, so I'm not gonna deal too much detail further, but we will work with Overstrand to make sure we pick up the pieces there. I just want to go back because there were a couple of questions, Chairperson. So through you, would you like me to answer those, or is that going to be considered by the committee?
Now you can answer, but before you answer, let's just ask. I see the hand from Councillor Teresa, so that in case probably it will, Teresa else, so that in case probably it's also going to involve you, because that will be the last. Then we give it to you. Over to you, Councillor else.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to come back to the signage, and we keep on, and I think that was what Ms. Clark was referring to. We keep on referring to the signage, which says the 60-kilometer signage where the camera is. They are talking about wildlife signage. So they want to see wildlife signage on the stretch from Royals all the way to Kleinmond. And I know with our previous conversation with Minister Simmers last year regarding this, he said that signage on the R44, it needs to, I don't know, I think you've got a standardized type of signage. So they are referring to wildlife signage on the R44 and not only the 60-kilometer signage that needs to be moved for the camera. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Okay. I've got now several hands. Let's see. There's a mobility. Is it Miss Payton from it? Mr. Des is from mobility, and then I've got also two hands from the petitioners, which is Miss D. I don't know who else. But can we just get a clarity first before I give it to the mobility in regard to the signage? I understand in terms of the wildlife, I understand from Mr. Hendricks' side is responding specifically to the road traffic related one. Let's give it to, I'm coming back to you, Mr. Des Payton from mobility. Let's give it to, I think, yeah. Petitioner, we want to give it to petitioner first so that they are done with their clarity and the questions, and then so that you can give it to the mobility and also Mr. Hendricks for the response, because we are done with the questions. Can we just give it to, I'm not sure it's Miss Clark or Miss Derry and Miss Yes.
Dorian?
Yes.
Mays.
Mays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mays, that's right. Yes, thank you. I think that there is a lot of concern and confusion that we came here today to focus on the hub. We did not do that. We want additional calming measures at the hub because 60, in fact, even that is not good enough for the type of pedestrian traffic that occurs there now, particularly with the park run every Saturday morning. But we need cameras in Betty's Bay. How many cameras have we got in Betty's Bay? None that are working. We've got one at the hub, but that is not that's unfinished business. That's what I'd like to say. That is from a previous site meeting and it's unfinished business. We mentioned it in our petition, the camera, just as an additional thought. Captain Mostert was concerned about the camera that wasn't working. And the SAPs are the people that actually have to are called out to an accident. They're the first ones on the site. So the focus on the hub and no focus on the CBD does concern me. Because people enter Betty's Bay from that side, they're traveling at the moment 100 kilometers an hour. Yes. They suddenly, well, they would be going faster than that on that stretch. They enter Betty's Bay and they continue speeding, because there's no camera, there's no enforcement. They just carry, it just sets the tone. Whereas if you've got something slowing them down when they enter Betty's Bay, as if to say, this happens to be a built-up area. This is almost considered an urban area. And this road was in fact the main road years ago between the villages. It was a main road. So, you know, it was inhabited. It was inhabited at that stage. So, the problem here is that not enough focus is being put on the CBD cameras, and as I say, if speed signs are put up, they are basically meaningless because people regard them as guidelines. It's not an enforcement. You have to legislate, and in order to legislate, you need, if it's legislated, then you have a camera, and then by means of a camera, you can prosecute the perpetrator. But without legislation and without a camera, how do you enforce the speed limit in Betty's Bay? I don't know.
Claremont 60 area.
So in Claremont, it's a 60-kilometer speed limit. It's an urban area. Why? Can we not have 70 at least? What, you know, that we've asked for, 70. A 10-kilometer drop in speed makes a big difference. It gives you more time to react. The collision impact is less, and you know, it affects everybody. But it is concerning that the CBD has not been addressed in this meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mobility, before, I think your hand has been up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just put my camera on and you can see who you're talking to. Madam Chair, yes, I've just got a few points I'd like to discuss as a sitting member of SEMCO. You get 3 types of cameras. Those are the speed
Sorry,
cameras.
what is SEMCO?
SEMCO is the Speed Enforcement Management Committee. That's the team that advises the Director of Public Prosecutions, where the DPP then makes a decision on the application for a speed camera. Madam Chair, now you've got 3 types. You've firstly got a camera on a tripod. That's got to be put in a space, in a place where it is determined by the DPP on approval. But that one, a traffic officer needs to be in close proximity. Then you get camera in a box, and that is also a specified point where the camera gets placed. It does not have to be manned by a traffic officer. And then you get camera on a pole, which does not have to be manned. What Provincial Traffic does is we don't use any of those systems. We've got a manual camera where we've got a traffic officer standing behind the camera. I'm going to propose, Madam Chair, as a short-term solution, an immediate solution, that with an integrated approach, we've fortunately got a very good working relationship with Overstrand Traffic. So what I would suggest is that as a short and immediate term solution, we get Provincial Traffic together with Overstrand to move into the Betty's Bay area.
that camera can be manned anywhere within the legal parameters of road signs and that. So it doesn't have to be at a specific point. It must just be placed in a position that is legally permitted to operate. That will be an immediate. So you will see an enforcement taking place immediately. That is going to give the Overstrand municipality the opportunity to investigate where additional cameras or where cameras need to be put in, get the necessary applications in place, get it through to SEMCO for approval, get it through to infrastructure for their approval on the site, and get the cameras up as prescribed, if it's required. Madam Chair, we also on the 16th, I sent in a team of 4 motorcycles and 2 vehicles. And the findings was, it was a Sunday, and they worked from 1,000 hours to 1,800 hours the evening, if I'm not, let me just check out, to 1,800 hours. We found that the flow of traffic was normal. We found that very few motorcycles were observed. The weather condition was also, it depends on weather conditions. Where the weather conditions good, obviously the traffic will pick up. There was a very strong visibility of Overstrand municipal traffic and their LEAP officers, a strong presence of them. Our guys engaged with the residents of Betty Bay Pringle and also discussed, and they indicated it is a concern. So what I'm trying to get there, Madam Chair, is 2 things. If we can immediately get speed law enforcement, obviously manpower being a big play in it, because, you know, it's coming up to elections and then we have a lot of unrest in that and we have to withdraw people, but we get immediate speed law enforcement to take place and high visible operations with Overstrand municipality. I think it will be a start to at least achieving something. We cannot talk on behalf of infrastructure. I think infrastructure gave a very good presentation, and it's very clear on how they determine their speed limits and speed calming measures, etc., etc. But I think just that we can show an immediate implementation of something, that we take that route and do the planning properly and start that the residents can start seeing something is being done, and that'll be a short-term and immediate reaction. Then on the medium term, we investigate this thing properly, determine where cameras need to be put up, because it's more than just cameras being put up. The municipality, there's funds involved. The cameras are expensive. Get the necessary approvals, and that we're at least getting somewhere. Because otherwise, Madam Chair, we're going to be sitting here in another 6 months' time talking about exactly the same thing with nothing happening. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. You wanted to do the last response infrastructure? Mr. Hendricks?
Thanks, Chairperson. Just quickly.
Also as a way forward, yeah.
Yeah, just quickly, and I've noted all the questions. I think first questions from Ms. Dorian was the issue about the classification. There, ma'am, I think it's clear must be pointed out, the classification is not a function of the accesses. The classification is based on the function that road performs within the context of the broader network. It is so that certain classifications have typical characteristics, but there are, of course, outliers to those characteristics. That doesn't necessarily mean that the classification should be different. So it is indisputably a Class 2 road. Then I think as it relates to, the focus on the hub versus the CBD, as I pointed out, a speed limit review was done for the entire 10.5 kilometer stretch through Betty's Bay in June or April of 2025. And that speed limit review is still valid today. Ms. Clark raised a couple of questions, and I think it was re-raised by several others, the issue of wildlife signage. Signage, as pointed out, I think by the councillor, signage must be implemented according to the South African Road Signs Traffic Manual. Only road signs which are recognized in that manual can be implemented. So there were a variety of sort of proposals put forward. None of those signs are official road signs that can be implemented legally. They are considered and regarded as illegal signs. That said, there are wildlife crossing signs official that you get in the SARTism or that are recognized in SARTism. And we can certainly have a discussion about how best we implement those signs, what would be appropriate points, and so on and so forth. I think as it relates to the parking bays, Ms. Clark, we are also, I mean, I think your presentation pointed out a lot more detail than the actual petition itself. And so we certainly would welcome a discussion as to which parking bays specifically are the problematic ones, and those, as you say, we can relatively inexpensively do away with where there are legitimate safety issues. The humps, as I said, the humps are incongruent with the Class 2. There's also no lighting in Betty's Bay. And so even aside from the financial considerations, which are a significant factor, humps would not be supported in Betty's Bay. I think the last question was about who's responsible for enforcement on provincial roads. Those are, speed enforcement sits with enforcement agencies, and I think Mobility and Overstrand have covered that extensively. They together are responsible for enforcement on all roads. Obviously, Overstrand within the Overstrand municipality. That covers it. I think, Chairperson, in terms of way forward, we've now agreed maybe some more comms just in respect of the speed limit signage with Overstrand, around enforcement, the wildlife signage specifically with the committee, the petition committee, as well as the parking bays. That would be DOI's input. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have received all inputs from all sides, the two departments, which is the infrastructure and mobility, and also from the Overstrand. And also we heard the input from the Cape Nature, where they did indicate that it's not necessary within their own mandate, but we got a clear guidelines in regard to that, which in terms of the law, which signage that will be ideal, so that to respond to the question that Councillor Els was trying to explain in terms of what is the needs. I think we have exhausted this for now, and I don't see any hands from the members of the committee, but we will deliberate as per the petition, because the petition report needs also to go and serve to the House. So for me as the chair, the way forward will be about that, because it is the Committee for Mobility, and therefore I'm putting it back in the hands of the Department of Mobility in terms of convening these stakeholders again, but on site, working with the municipality in regard to having these conversations again to see, especially that I heard from Mr. Des P, in regard to that actually there could be a plan B, whether it's temporary or not, in regard to the cameras and so forth. With those words, the committee will deliberate, and the petition will serve in the House, which it end up being also being shared throughout as it becomes an open space. But we will hear from Mobility in regard to when could they be able to convene the stakeholders together with the petitioners. And also we'll be asking them, definitely it's going to be not in 2026 in terms of the year. It could be in still 2026, 2027 financial year, but it could be February or March, we don't know. Because as you know that we're going to the local government elections, and the parliament, all parliaments in South Africa will be taking a break within a month or so until after November. It's not a break per se, but they'll be working across in the municipalities in regard to assisting where they need to assist, especially supporting the councillors. But again, thank you very much, Ms. Mace Dorian, and Chairperson Ms. Clark, and also your committee. I do appreciate for coming in and also for the committee that is unable to show their faces because of time now. We don't have to ask in terms of what is the threat, but we can do even that even offline. And thank you for municipality through you, Mayor, and councillors who did log in. As I indicated, that MMC Lam was here, and Councillor Teresa also was here, and also your directors. Again, mobility and the infrastructure, thank you very much. The members will deliberate on that. Ms. Adams, you're gonna give us a thumbs, heads up, if indeed we can be able to continue. But thank you very much. You can be able to be excused.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
very
everybody's
much.
time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Okay. Now to members. I see Member Leka. You are the first. Yes, but who's Yandiswa? Who's on hold?
Chair, and this was from
From
PLRP
us.
or unit.
Oh,
She's from
from us.
WCPP.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, from us. No, it says on hold. Okay, I was wondering. And then, are we? Can we continue now?
Yes, Chair, we
Yes.
can continue. I just
Yeah.
see
Okay,
members and
Member Leka.
officials.
Member Leka.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Chair, I think the petition has been made with a specific purpose to seek a recourse. And I think the speaker before Mr. Michael Hendricks made some proposal on what they can do in the meantime, whilst there could be immediate other actions that could be implemented. So we must just action from the proposals or commitments that he has made. We must take note and maybe check after a period of 4 months how far they've been with the implementation of what he has proposed. 2, I may be limited as far as the reasons why the speed humps may not be put up in Betty's Bay. And if that is the case, then as a committee, we must get the reasons as to why speed humps cannot be put up, and therefore, as part of our report to the petitioners, we say the speed humps cannot be supported. This is what can be done, and we will check for feedback after a period of 4 to 5 months to check the implementation. Lastly, Chair, the issue of the cameras. I would have thought maybe as part the issue of the cameras is something that gets to be dealt with at that level. We must also get feedback as to what cameras can be put, the box or whatever type of cameras that can be put there. But I also don't want us to be too ambitious in saying we will look into the kilometer radius that the petitioners has or proposed to us, but we see in line with the accepted norms and standards which cameras can be put up where. So I thought I must put those suggestions so that we give a proper feedback to the petitioners themselves in writing, because obviously they are mandated from somewhere. And whatever platform that they are mandated from, they must be able to report back. And we must also be able to say from what they've reached out or from their expectations, this is what we have done as Parliament. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. By the way, the people who signed the petition, there were 440 something, although they are quoting about how many residents. So it's quite a lot looking in terms of the the size of Berries Bay, that they will even have almost 500,000 people. Thank you very much. Any other input? Have you captured that, Ms. Adams?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah. Any other input? Noting that the report on the petition, it serves in the, it becomes referred to the House as well, just NB for the members. Ms. Adams?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a reminder that that report is only drafted once the committee is satisfied that the petition or the matter has been concluded. So it won't necessarily be done now if the committee is still making plans to, still get feedback from the department, etc. So the committee basically has to indicate to me when they are satisfied that we've closed the matter.
Yes, no, what I'm trying to highlight, the whole report is about like what we are suggesting now, and that the departments must go and do ABC, and then they must come and feedback. So it will be the whole part of it, whether it's going to be in March or April in terms of the whole pack. But I was just reminding the members that it does serve in the House, unlike with the committees where it becomes our own resolution, minutes, and all of those. At the end, the whole process gets served in the House. Thank you, Member Leka. Do we provide any time frames for specifically, because we can say to the Mobility Department in terms of giving feedback? Do we provide any time frames? Although I made a blanket suggestion that probably we can only be able to look at in our next quarter, which is final quarter of the year, which is in the quarter of the January to April, in regard to probably having a proper sitting. Do you have any time frames for the department to report back to us, Member Leka?
No, Chair, look, we know that we've got a tight schedule. When we come back after the electioneering day, we would have other programs that we normally have. So I'll probably suggest end of February. No, end of January, because that's the only time that we would have time to look into the other business of the year, as would be approaching the state of the province address in February. So at least if we say by end of January, we'll make that follow up.
Thank you, Member Leka. There is a proposal, members. If there are any objections, I don't see any objections. So we're saying that by the end of January, we will be asking for the department in regard to the feedback. Because what I know from the municipality perspective, they will want to deal with this before the November elections, because in case there might be some changes that will impact on the continuation. So therefore, end of January might be fine. Any other matters? I mean, any other proposals, members? If not, going once, going twice. Are you satisfied, Ms. Adams? Can we? Sorry, mute, member Leka. Sorry, you were saying, Ms. Adams?
Happy Chair?
Yeah.
All good.
Okay, all good. Thank you, members. The petition is done, and lastly, I would probably suggest that probably whether it's in the group or the email, the draft petition framework, so that members can remind themselves in terms of what are the context when it comes to the petition framework, draft petition framework. Thank you very much. The next thing in our agenda is the minutes of the 28th of July. Just a reminder from the members what was in the minutes, the resolutions. It was talking about the filling of vacancies, equity plan from the department. Also in regard to whether is there any assistance in terms of the drafting of the integrated traffic plan, transport plan for Central Karoo, specifically in Beaufort West. And then the last resolution was about asking the department to do a presentation on the Shaela Smart program. The only person that was not there, just to avoid that a person raised their hand, was member Van Veek and member Heron. The rest can propose. Any propose? Others were present. Thank you, member Vessels, and the person who will be seconding this. We'll need a seconder for the minutes. Seconder, member. Let's see who else was here. Okay. It cannot be
Chair, we don't
member
actually
Maleka.
need a
You don't.
Yeah, we don't actually, but also you can also second as the chairperson since you were in the meeting.
Okay. I didn't know. Okay. All right. I second my minutes that I've chaired for, and I'll sign and I'll adopt. Thank you very much for the guidance. Is there anything else? Sorry.
No, Chair, we've concluded the business of today's
Thank you
meeting.
thank you very much, members. All the best. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Jay.
Bye.